Dre Greenlaw, very violent player. Not in a bad way. He's not a dirty player. He runs fast. He hits hard. Extreme violence is what Robert Saleh preaches, or used to. And then that was D'Amico Ryans. He hit Justin Herbert in the head pretty hard. Again, it didn't look on purpose at all. But it happened. Penalty, Kyle Shanahan said he expected it. The ejection, he said he didn't expect. There could be a fine. There could be a suspension. What do you think of the way Greenlaw's been dealt with?
It did seem egregious to eject him on that play.
It felt like targeting. It felt like a college ruling.
Which I hate the targeting rule, by the way. But
it felt like that. Yeah.
Does this guy have like a rep?
They make it so.
Some huge rep.
He had a couple. He had a couple late
arguing with officials.
He had a couple late hits in Chicago, one or two, but it wasn't anything he got fined over. Has he ever been fined?
Well, I'll say this. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'll say, what's the fine? I'll pay it. And if I don't pay it, Lynch will pay it. And if Lynch doesn't pay it, Jed will pay it. Somebody's paying it. You're not paying it. Because that guy's, he's my favorite Niner. Him and Aziz. Those guys fly around and they detonate. And they just, and I didn't even sweat it when I saw Greenlaw went out because I'm like, well, they got Al-Shaair. They got another guy who's literally the same guy right now who's going to, be, going to be a great replacement. I didn't get it. What I saw in that play was Ward hit Herbert. Herbert's trajectory changed.
Yeah,
these guys
kind of lunge forward. Yeah,
these guys are not U.S. Olympic gymnasts. All right? Stop treating these defensive players like they're gods as far as what they can hit in the strike zone and what's a penalty and what's not. Greenlaw was doing nothing but playing fast in the neighborhood when Herbert got hit into his path, and then it went helmet to helmet. If Ward doesn't hit him, and he had no chance to react to the Ward hit, which changed Herbert's whole angle. Once Ward hit Herbert, the angle changed. It was instantaneous, and then you're just helmet on a helmet. Now, I understood the penalty because quarterbacks are the money ticket, the meal ticket. It's never going to change. It's only going to get more like this because they mean a ton. Because nobody wanted to watch Rams Cardinals this week with their backup quarterbacks because the quarterback means everything. So I get protecting the quarterback. I get, why it's a penalty. I didn't get the suspension. And I think we're trying to pretend like these defensive players in some of these guys, this is a linebacker, 250 pounds. But some of these guys are 290 that are getting these penalties. They're not gymnasts. They cannot react in that small of a space and that quick of a time with that kind of athleticism. They're great athletes, but they're not that great. And so you got to dial back some of these penalties. Some of these, what you're asking for the defense to do, strike above the knee, below the neck. Don't include go with the helmet in any way. The game's incredibly fast. To me, I have a lot of sympathy for what the hell are these guys supposed to do?
Yeah, but when it happened, I said in my seat, they're going to eject him. And not because I felt
ejection.
I didn't think he deserved it.
Who's the last player that we've seen ejected?
Quan Alexander, when he hit Jameis Winston, week 1, 2019. Week 1, 2019. He hit Jameis Winston.
3 years ago is the last person.
It happens. He hit him in I'm just telling you. As soon as it happened, I'm like, oh, they're going to eject him. Not that he should get ejected, but this is the NFL, and they don't care about players. They don't care about player safety. They care about their image. And they have an image problem. Yeah, they have an image problem since Tua happened. They have to act like they care about protecting players from concussions. So you hit, dude, you're going to get ejected. I'm sorry. And it's because of what happened in Miami earlier this year. But the league needs to look like they're tough on this.
They're not protecting players, Grant. They're protecting
themselves.
They're protecting
themselves. Yes. They're protecting their.
They don't care about players. They care about valuable players.
Because they care about the perception that they care about players.
You can hit Austin Eckler that way. You just can't hit Herbert that way.
Right, because Herbert is famous. He's a top 5 quarterback in the league. If he gets knocked out and if he got a concussion and Greenlaw didn't get ejected, people be talking about it on Good Morning Football and Scott Van Pelt Live.
Yeah, what if he went to the blue tent and didn't come back? Second half was Chase Daniel.
I'm telling you.
I would love to know how we were watching. We were there. The Bay Area was watching. The L.A. market, or if you're a Charger fan, you might have been watching. But the rest of the nation, if you go Chase Daniel, there's a bunch of people turning it off right there.
Ratings go down. And so I felt like Herbert was not the same in the second half. I felt like I was surprised that he came back and he got hit really, really hard. Not that Greenlaw was doing it on purpose. It was just one of those things in football. But yeah, I thought, okay, he's going to get ejected. I don't think they're going to.
Could have been the key to the game, by the way, because then he went out. He had to go to the blue tent. And by the time he got back on the field, they had already settled for the field goal.
They were right there in position to score. Yeah, that was a big play. It was a big play. So actually,
he wanted to come back, but they just timed it a little off.
The Niners should be like, hey, Dre, that was a really good play, and we know you didn't mean to hurt him, so we're going to pay that fine for you, buddy. Yeah, we're going to pay that fine for you, buddy. Yeah.
Kept 4 points off the board. And I'll tell you this, I kind of thought Staley kind of blew it. If I was Staley, I would have called the timeout. Get him back out there.
Yeah,
one down. He had one down where I was watching on the binoculars. He was out of the blue tent and he had his helmet back in his hand.
Yeah.
And there was one play left and he elected to go with Chase Daniel.
It's amazing how many bad coaches there are in the league. And then what's crazy is Jeff Saturday gets a job and everyone's like, this is disgraceful. There are so many more qualified people who deserve this job. And he wins. He freaking wins because you know what? There are a lot of unqualified glorified coordinators with no leadership skills making $10 million a year to be head coaches like Josh McDaniels and freaking Nathan Hackett and this guy, Brandon Staley, that some dude who has no experience like Jeff Saturday can get a team to put up 25 points and win. Crazy to me. Brandon Staley, you're fired. Dre Greenlaw, good luck. Double B Studio says the real question is how they're going to keep Debo from eating 20 tacos, 2 tortas, and a burrito in Mexico. I couldn't resist. How are they going to keep me from doing that? They're only going to be in Mexico for like a minute and a half. Maybe that's part of the reason.
Really? Is that they're flying late?
Like Sunday. They're coming in Sunday and playing. They're spending a lot of time in. Why Colorado Springs? You're 3 hour drive from Lake Tahoe. What about Lake Tahoe? Lake Tahoe is right there. Right there. And you got to go to Colorado Springs? Man.
You know what the Lake Tahoe doesn't have that Colorado Springs has? The Broadmoor.
What?
Isn't that where they're staying? I think they're staying at the Broadmoor. The Broadmoor is like this awesome pimp daddy, 5-star, world-class, resort.
What about Lake Tahoe High School? They got a field.
Yeah, the Niners are laying out on Kings Beach, getting an ice cream cone. Yeah.
Jonathan Correa. Why not? It'd be more convenient for me. Jonathan says, love what you're doing, Grant. I look forward to your shows. Thank you, Jonathan. Since you've been in the locker room, from what you've seen, is Trey Lance a leader? Yeah, he was for the minute and a half that he was the leader of the team. I haven't seen him since he got hurt. I think someone else said they saw him on the sideline.
Saw he's got the boot off. I thought first of all, what is a leader? All I'll say is that because I've been in there as well, he had a great rapport going with his teammates, but that doesn't mean that they feel like he's competent. That just means they feel like they like him. So it's there's a big difference between, I think he's got respect in the room. I think he's one of the guys, but he has
to prove it on the field.
Yeah, what does that actually mean as far as his performance? I think very little.
Josh Wyatt says, I bet if you gave Jennings one red zone shot a game, he would score 10 touchdowns a season like Bourne used to. Does Kyle just hate ISO ball now? Yeah, Bourne used to be his secret weapon. When you were really trying hard to stop Kittle and Debo, boom, touchdown Bourne. But maybe that was Mike McDaniel. Maybe that was his tendency. Possible.
I love Jennings' hands, by the way. I'd love if I could give one athlete another athlete's skills, I would give James Wiseman Jawan Jennings' hands.
James Wiseman reference. Double B Studio says the announcers and Mike Pereira on TV agreed ejection was too far, and why aficionados made a mistake. Flag okay, but ejection. Look, I'm not saying he deserved to get ejection. All I said was I called it. I know the league is reactive. They look bad. They want to make themselves look better. Dre Greenlaw, you're collateral damage. Sorry, buddy. That's just how the league works, and it sucks.
Especially national TV, especially.
That's a good point.
Culture. We're a highlight culture.
That's a good point.
The highlight was of the guy's head getting rocked.
If it was just a regular 1 o'clock game, he probably wouldn't have been ejected, but it was a national televised game. It's a golden boy playing quarterback. He was screwed. Sorry, Dre, you were screwed. Matthew says, want to say Cowherd got it right today on Kyle Shanahan. Basically, just shut up, line up, and play, and that you don't need to outsmart everyone all the time. I have a feeling that Colin Cowherd is talking to someone in Jimmy's camp because he is parroting all the Jimmy talking points to a T every week. And I don't know, maybe Don Yee calls him up and says, this is what you should say this week, or I don't know who, but man, he is so Team Jimmy, and he's not really in Kyle's corner anymore.
It's amazing that Cowherd has such an obvious bias and an obvious conflict of interest, and yet he parks his car in the Niners thing, and it just crushes him. Every time he goes there, it's like everybody just immediately throws out that his daughter dated, Trey, and that he's not an unbiased observer here, and that he's got an agenda, and it's like doesn't bother him, man. He just keep going at it.
Antonio says if you go out and get street tacos, go one that has carnitas. There are restaurants that have good tacos. You don't have to get it in the streets. Okay, I love carnitas. My whole thing in the Bay Area is I go to the trucks. If it's in a restaurant, I'm like, this is probably for gringos. Oh, it's in a truck? I'm there. I'm there. And that's a good way to live in the Bay Area.
Okay,
if you see a taco truck, it's the bomb.
Yeah, no question. But I will say this: a really good place is in Montclair. There's a little taqueria right there in Montclair.
Oh yeah, shout out them. I've been going there since I was like 12 years old. The Super Wet Burrito. It's very good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's excellent.
Really good. Yeah,
it's legendary. Double B Studio says the positive green's going to be fresher versus Cardinals. Greens going to be fresher. What is he talking about?
Don't know.
Green. Like mustard greens? Are we talking
Roy Green?
Right.
He used to play for the Cardinals.
Triple tacos, Grant. Tripe or tongue or head, all good. Yeah, I'm usually not that adventurous.
You go marinated tongue?
I have. It's good, and I know all like the OGs go. Like the only people that get carne asada are the gringos. It's what I've kind of noted. I feel like everyone else has taste for something a little bit more exotic, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the gringo. I'll have the carne asada. I'm like, carne asada, please. Yet nobody ejected when Lance had his ankle broke. He didn't get hit in the head. I mean, a helmet-to-helmet hit is something that will get you ejected in college, even if it's inadvertent. And that's what it kind of felt like. It felt like one of these inadvertent targeting, which is like, it's not really a rule in the NFL. It
was college. A bad highlight, and the flag was super late anyway, by the way.
It was.
Nobody ever mentions that, by the way. That's like just an accepted part of football now. That, oh, yeah, the ridiculously late flag is not – nobody even questions it. It's like, oh, yeah, here comes the flag.
Mario says Kyle proved again how bad he is. At the 5-yard line after stopping the Chargers, we don't even score with all that momentum. Really, Kyle? That was at the end of the game. They kicked the field goal to go up 6. I didn't have a problem with that because it was clear that the Chargers were not going to move the ball in the second half. What I thought was crazy or surprising was that first drive when they go all the way down the field, get to the 2-yard line, and kick a field goal. I didn't like that. Go for it. Because the worst thing that happens is you give the Chargers the ball at the 2-yard line. I like that situation too. You can score in that situation too. Like, what are you afraid of?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You have the number 1 defense in the league.
And you have all this firepower on offense. You got 4 chances to get the ball in. Come on, man.
I'll tell you this. I mean, we're an awful lot of talk about Kyle and this and that. My bigger issue is with D'Amico. I think D'Amico and the defense come out super vanilla, allow a quarterback to establish a rhythm. Why? Yeah. And then start busting out all the exotics on third down. Yeah. I mean, come on. Shut off his water before the game starts, and then you don't have to worry about getting him out of rhythm.
Yeah, like the plan is we're going to make DeAndre Carter and Josh Palmer and Gerald Everett look really good for a half and then shut them down. Like, no, just shut them down. They're not good.
Blitzing him on second down. He started going after Herbert and giving him a bunch of different looks. And, but why not do that in the first quarter? Same with Stafford, Grant. Go back to that game. Look at the defensive game plan in the first half. He was playing pitch and catch, a lot of soft zone. Second half, hey, tighten up, man-to-man, coordinated rush, coordinated everything. How about
do it the whole game?
Yeah. Let's go 4 quarters next time, huh?
The Niners are kind of lucky that 88, whatever that dude's name was, that alligator arm, that walk-in touchdown, that freaking – you remember that in the first half? Justin Herbert laid it out for him, 88.
Oh, yeah,
had it. I mean – that was a nice throw. Justin Herbert, I think, is really good. It's the only time I've seen him in person in a game. He had no receivers, and he battled till the end. I was impressed.
Tough guy. Yeah, no, the guy throws an incredible ball.
Incredible.
He was the only reason that game was ever in question, just because he was on the strength of his arm and his ability to wing it, because they didn't have much last night besides him.
Antonio, thank you for the guidance. Says USA Trucks equals Mexican restaurant tacos. Yeah, it's better in the street. Restaurant ain't bad at all. Fogoncito Tecate. I can't even do it. But I'll go back and look. I swear I can't. I took French in school. I'm sorry, which was not helpful. Okay, last question. Topic.
Why did so many people take French? I also took French. What the hell were we thinking?
At my middle school, there was the best teacher at the school was the French teacher. Everyone knew it. He was like 28. He was cool. Everyone wanted to be in his class. So a lot of people took French at that one school because him. Shout out Mr. Hart.